Welcome to Cat the Minion YouTube channel. My name is Theresa, but you can call me Cat. I'm doing weekend pick-a-pile, and hopefully you can hear me alright over the necessary air. I did just turn it down, so hopefully it's not as bad as it could be. It continues to be hot and steamy and stuffy here in the Northeast. So, I have 4 piles this week. I have 7 decks that I'm using. And 2 of the decks are in all piles, but not all decks are in all piles. So, I've got the Aquarian Tarot. I've got my music deck that I made for myself. I have these Lover's Oracle deck. Just by grinding my toe into the floor. I have my phrase deck that I made for myself. There's a lot of them. The Uno deck. I have my Twin Flame Pinnacle deck. And I have the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit cards. And the book, in case I feel like I want to read from it. So the piles to choose from this week. I had to look this up in my pony schedule that I made. Why is there just like crust on her? This one is Sunset Shimmer. This is a 1981 Dazzle doll. Her name is Crystal, so I don't have a Crystal, but I have Crystal. This is a, yeah, so I have Titan's brand, Alien vs. Predator, Chonk Xenomorph. There's the swivel head action. And I have this porcelain tripod thing. I think it may be for incense, but I usually just put water in it for eyeshadow. So those are the piles. So, choose your fighter. We have porcelain dish with flowers and gold. Sort of Victorian looking chamber pot, maybe. The alien, the Xenomorph, Chonk Xenomorph, Crystal, and Sunset Shimmer. Okay. I'm gonna start with the little pot. I'm gonna drop the camera a little bit. Just turning the thing in the wrong direction. Okay, check the focus, which I probably have to switch again in a second. Okay. I'm gonna just show this thing a little better. It's like the 4 cardinal directions there. I don't know if that's like brass or gold. I guess it's supposed to be gold. It's kind of numbered situation. Get the lid to align with the edges. Okay. Doesn't seem to fit that way. It's slightly better. Okay. The Fool. That's Uranus. Possibly Aquarian energy. Six of Rods inverted. I think that's... yeah, that's Jupiter in Leo, so Sagittarius energy as well. Starfish inverted. Okay. So I'm getting a little bit of Five of Pentacles or Five of Wands or Five of Cups, but also shallow, which is why there's no victory. And the pot itself shallow as well. Well, it's like your aquarium doesn't have enough water in it. Nine of Cups inverted. So we have dissatisfaction. Okay, so here we have an open heart chakra. Okay, so I'm getting Let the Sun Shine In, which is part of the song The Dawning of the Age of Aquarius by the Fifth Dimension. And this looks kind of like a dimensional portal as well. So here we have essentially a lack of getting into deeper emotion. In the heart center is creating basically epic fail, and instead of dealing with it, someone is just trying to run in the other direction. I'm like, never mind, I'm just gonna go do something else. Let's see what this says. Secret admirer. Someone has deeper feelings for you than they are letting on. Alright, so like I said, shallow. We don't want to tread the deeper water. We don't want to get in our... just don't want to get in over your head. But essentially, because this is inverted and there's this dude on a horse, it's like half the Hanged Man. It's like, I don't want any deep universal mysteries to be revealed to me, but I'm still like head over heels. That's like, I don't want to put in the work, so I'm kind of just keep going over here. It's like I keep going back to the beginning because I don't want to do the next level. Right, keep turning around and going back. So, what the hell? 97. Let me read the starfish. Starfish. It says, when out of balance, which it is because it's inverted, gossip and feels empty. So if this was turned around and we had the starfish in this sort of pivotal energy giving off more Hierophant than mind games or sense of lack or conflict and immaturity, because it's next to a wand, it would be uplifting, artistic, and expressive, right? Your feelings aren't being allowed to flow deep. You're not expressing them, right? So if this was upright, this Six of Wands would be upright. We'd have this like victory, public recognition, like, look at this lucky bastard energy. It's beautiful, alluring, thrilling. It says, being around someone with starfish energy is a thrill, like you've been put under a spell of divinity itself, which would make sense if this was the Hierophant. These creatures have been reliant on how they look and what other people think of them for so long they might have forgotten their deeper callings. Alright, so it says, it's important to ask, am I being swayed by outward appearances? What dreams? 9 of Cups is like a half moon card. It's dreams, but here inverted, it's identical basically to the 9 of Swords, which is nightmares. What dreams have I put aside to please others? Right? It's like I keep going away from what I want to start out and really do because other people say I should do this. And in that case, you're not really the winner of your own world and you'll end up in this sense of lack. Now notice I have 5 here because it's pentagram essentially. 9 and 5 is 14, which is balance, so it's out of balance with your own heart center. Right? So the problem here looks very much like Cupid's arrow Sagittarius is deep set in this person, and they need the Aquarian Uranus energy, which is currently retrograde, to be able to view themselves in a new light where they're not dependent on input and feedback and accolades from other people in order that they can go out and get what makes their heart happy, what their dream is. And apparently it's another person that they're very much in love with. But they didn't want to interrupt their standing or status or fair weather friend group with. So what essentially is here is there's been a lid put on depth with this pile. Alright? So it comes as kind of a warning or as an opportunity to face that this is what's really going on. Alright, so let's move on to the Xenomorph. Let's get a detail view here. This part moves. But the tail doesn't move, but the arms do. These kind of look like Lego hands, don't they? So it's like trying to create something artistically, maybe. Building it from the ground up. But also this idea of like, I was gonna say like a perfect predator creature, but I also heard in my head smooth criminal. Like, Annie, are you okay? Should have him in the frame. He's too chunky. Alright, let's see what the cards are. Alright. 10 of Swords related to masculine energy. The Sun in Gemini. Gemini is currently in the North Node. This guy again. I swear to God, every time I use these cards, I get the fucking elk. This is a little bit like the King of Pentacles. We have Awakening in the Crown. This time he's upright. A lot of the time lately he's been coming out inverted. So we have heart chakra energy, we have sacral energy, and just a little bit of solar energy, but it, well, actually, yeah, it's basically the 4 lower chakras, but it's more critically That's actually more red in real life. So it's like yellow. It's like red, orange, and chartreuse. So essentially root and heart chakra. But it's sort of like saying we're focusing on the traveling between these two chakras. So we're focused on moving on what's happening to move through the sacral and the solar. And that way it's like, what's your confidence? Like, what are your woundings related to who you are as a person, including, which is up to and including sexuality, but it's not saying like, oh, I'm sexually damaged. It's saying that your sexuality is part of who you are as a manifested being in the world, and it should be taken in conjunction with the core of your being, and that they're not separate, but they're all part of the same system. Don't hate the player. 38. So we have 10, 11, and then an elk, which would be roughly a 1 or a 14 if I'm equating it to the 10 of Pentacles, to the King of Pentacles. Let's see if I can get there. 38. Okay, so that's the Empress and Strength or Justice. And 11, it would be Justice or Strength again. So it's Justice and Strength and the Empress energy, which is Venus, which is also... Why can't I talk? Taurus or Libra or the Hierophant. Oh, I've got another one of these. What's this one? This one's kind of inverted. Enhanced Calm, they're coming out. Alternately, the cat emerges from the bag. So we have 78 here, which is that 8 number again, Strength or Justice. And then I have 7, which is the Chariot. And then together, that's the Devil, which is 15, which is actually giving me closer to that elk energy than a King of Pentacles is. I might have to readjust that a little bit. Okay, that's better. Okay, so this is the 8 of Swords. I want to break free by Queen. Oh, still from shooting the video. Right, it's like I'm wearing a costume. I'm a player. So then we have that number 8 again. 8 of Swords energy is Mercury in Sagittarius. So we have directed communication or directed change of perspective. Here it's letting go of your own mental prison, which is clearly for a masculine energy here. Their mental prison is literally killing them. And here it could say these antlers are kind of like a mental prison as well, dealing with the core of who you are instead of being honest in their sexuality, which might have to do with LGBTQ plus AI spectrum, but not because it says coming out here, but it also could just be expression that they've been suppressing, right? Because they're acting like they're playing the field. They're not being honest with what they really want. They're giving themselves unfulfilling connection. There's no feelings here. It's just it's just communicating, right? They're not being loving. They're just going for the pleasure, that Taurus energy that's locked in there with the Empress. Okay, so then we actually do have the King of Pentacles. And here it says money, because I use the Pink Floyd. But when I said it just now, I got Michael Jackson. It's like, so if you want it, you have to earn it with dignity. Instead of playing. But here we have a scarab beetle with a sun disk, which is looking a little bit like this portal up here. Now this is also the third eye and the two lobes of the brain. So we want to shift the perspective. The king can be a 1 or a 14. So we're getting 11, which is that justice, strength, but also universal timing. And it could be a twin flame number if that's what we're dealing with here, because I do have one of the cards from my twin flame deck here. It doesn't have to be, but it very well might be. So a 5 is a shift. It's also going back to that Taurian Hierophant number. But the idea is manifestation in the physical world of balance. Okay, so in the Pink Floyd Money song, it's "Get your hands off of my stack." It's this idea of going after what you really want instead of, you know, stabbing your own self in the back over and over again over, you know, just sort of getting by, being tied in with that devil energy of being bound to the same mistakes over and over again. So let's see what's this. So we have a bunch of butterflies here. This is transformation. There's a feminine on this card, but I think it just goes back to that Venus energy of that drives the Libra balance energy. There, you have to have some kind of creativity in your mind. You can't just plod forward like a mechanical machine like this creature would, right? There's no emotive content. They just exist to exist and kill to survive and annihilate any threads. But when you add, so it's just very masculine linear side of the brain, and we see masculine brain in the very phallic shape of the head. And it's not saying that masculine is bad, it's saying that the thought process is linear and in the base sense very animalistic and going straight through a problem. But what we need is to have both halves of the brain. We need this feminine energy that has a creative way of waking up into a new perspective. We're balancing it. We're going to the other side. We're having the strength to view things from a different point of view and to view ourselves from a different point of view, to where there's an allowing as the first step towards a more emotive process. Again, there's zero emotion here, but we'll see what it says under the Elk card. But let's see what it says on the opposite of this transformative cycle here. Notice that there's the third eye as well, which appears here. Deep in your heart, you already know the answer. Do what feels right. Okay, so this is finally an appeal to the emotional sense. What feels right is to behave as yourself, to come out of your own mental prison where you're restricting yourself to a very base way of interacting with the world. All right, so what page is the elk on? 79. 79. Okay. All right, so in this upright position, we have Stable, resilient, headstrong, and father energy. And I'm going to hold these up together because they're somewhat interchangeable. Trying to get them to both focus at the same time. The great elk represents the earth element in its masculine form. This means it provides underlying support and stability amidst life's many changes. So this is changes. It says, an elk personality, whether male or female, is fully established in themselves and knows their core values. That's what I said here. Sometimes the elk's ego can become inflated, but for the most part, they make damn good fathers, mothers, lovers, and friends. Okay. So I think that just adds to what I've said. There's this idea of resolving a gap between this root instinctual behavior of just going to go and the heart chakra itself. And what's missing in between is what drives you. It's that passion in life. And this earth energy here, along with the balance and abundant energy from the Empress, will allow the transformation to take place and let whoever this is free them from themselves. You know, continuing, it's an ego of pain that needs to be resolved. And this is essentially just saying you need to become aware of this, and you also have the strength and ability within yourself to transform and let yourself out of this trap. Notice that there was 10 swords and 8 swords, which is together the 18, which is the moon number, which is that idea of going into the darkest depths of what an issue is to face the nightmare. Alright, so I'm going to move on to Crystal in just a second. Okay, so let me get a better view of Crystal here. She's got a little stand. It's a very well articulated miniature doll. There's some staining under here from because she was strapped to her original card for almost 40 years, 37 years. Her hair is kind of waxy and the rubber band was rotted into it, but she's cute. She has a tiny little Steffi head mold, superstar miniature body with straight arms. Very glamorous. Anyway, so I need to get more of those. These things are great. Okay, so to the cards. In the challenge position, we have a Jack of Swords with feminine energy. So this could be a knight or a page, depending on how it goes. I want it to be a page already, because I feel like there's one going this way and one going that way, because it's 11. I'm gonna have to adjust the focus on this again. The table. Okay. I'll do it in a second. No, I'll do it now. So we have the butterfly, so we have this transformation. This is like a switch that's like trying to go back and forth. floppy switch. 4 of Cups inverted. That's actually good. In the challenge position. 8 of Cups. So we have a doubling here. So this is Life Story by Barbra Streisand from the Guilty album. Your life story began with somebody else. Find your glory out there with somebody else. I've got this image here that I scabbed. It's like a duality, red and blue. So it's almost like 2 faces again here, 2 wings here, right? 2 different colors in the wings. So we have this red and blue being repeated here, and then red and blue. Oh, crap. Red and blue. That was in, yeah, that was in the challenge position. So we have a doubling effect here. 8 and 4 is 12, which is the Hanged Man. So this is actually probably the Knight, but it could be either. It's like we're not sure which one is which. It could be the Page or the Knight for various reasons for both. It could also be a 1. It could just be 1, right? 12 and 1, that's 13. That's transformation. So we'll say it's not either. It's just 1. And it could go Knight or Page, depending. Alright, so this looks like the throat chakra, but it also looks like it's growing up in from the solar and the heart. We have these vines. It's like spiritual growth, but something that is a little bit painful, perhaps. So let's read the card. Look inside yourself. Examine what is causing you to feel this way. Okay. So we do have emotional upheaval here. 8 of Cups is usually walking away from what doesn't serve you anymore. 4 of Cups is the kid sitting on the ground with 3 cups of garbage and then refusing the cup from the divine hand. When it's inverted like this, it's like waking up from that. It's like understanding that there's something out there for you. And this idea of doubling down on that idea is to say, okay, now I know what I need to come away from, right? Find your glory out there with somebody else or some other cups. Not keep drinking from the same poison ones. Now notice how with this 4 inverted, it looks a lot more like the legs of the Hanged Man. And we do have Hanged Man energy. 12 is the Hanged Man, and then 13 brings it to that transformation. But I'm going to read the butterfly. Page 153? If I could read my handwriting. Alright. The energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition. Since air is the element of the heart, this change usually involves relationships, or if you love your job, perhaps your career. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be extra patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon. Committing to the daily routine, a meal, practice, or prayer done at the same time and place will do wonders for lifting a butterfly's spirit. Okay. So there's this idea of fragility and frustration trying to be overcome to get to a place of like peace. Here it says cheerful and graceful. So this is like weathering the change. It's this desperate new beginning, Page or Knight, of bringing love to yourself by moving through these deep emotional waters. Right? We're not going under here, and we're not floating on the surface. It's sort of like treading water until you know which things you need to give up in order to lighten your own load so that you can rise above it. And there is an element of fire energy here as well. It has to do with resolving your core so that you can achieve this emotional growth. And I mean, this person looks a little bit sad, but they're gonna be okay. Alright, that was much shorter than I thought it would be, but not all these piles have the same amount of cards in them. Alright, so perhaps appropriately, Sunset Shimmer is last. So just... focus on that a little bit better. Nope, I had it. Okay. It's probably about as good as it's gonna get. It's like a really bizarre necklace and pendant situation here. Chunky. Okay. Make sure these are focused again. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. Alright, let's see what card Deparnay has got. I'll put it over here so you can still see the sunbeams. King of Cups inverted. Two of Rods. Okay, so we have a Jack of Pentacles related to feminine energy. In a challenge position. Oh, this is like all kinds of stuff going on here. Okay, so we have the Cosmic Egg. Observation versus combat. Alternately, what's that for? 23. Breaking down to 5. Oh, okay, I'll put this 5 over here with the King. Battery's gonna go. Okay, also in a challenge position. The Page of Swords. Crypt of the Necrodancer, OST Zone 1, Level 2. Okay. So that's probably a page here of Pentacles. That they turn the page energy. Okay, so here's the Dryad kissing her tree, sort of being able to have protected yourself and your boundaries to be able to come out of your hidey hole. This is roughly equivalent to the Hermit inverted, I think. Give thanks for the blessings of love soon to come your way. Know that you deserve to be and have all that your heart truly desires. Okay. So the other emotion card on here is the King of Cups inverted. Like, I'm imbalanced in my emotions, and here we have observation versus combat. What's that for? It's like automatically assuming that someone's out to get you and sort of being combative in your emotional stance so that you can win instead of having some kind of resolve. The Two of Rods here is like you have to make a decision of if you're going to keep doing this or if you're going to turn the page and do something else. You have to make a choice. King of Cups energy. Libra and Scorpio with air of water. So we're imbalanced, and there's this idea that there's a death cycle that has to happen. There's a shift. Notice I have 23 here, which breaks down to 5. 1 and 4, 14, that's 5. And then I have 2 here. So 2, and then the other card that would be missing would be a 3. I'm getting Three of Swords as the missing card. Three of Swords, which should be turned around from heartbreak to coming out of it. Now, there's a feminine energy down here, which does relate to the Empress. I have 11 and I have 11, or I have 1 and 1. I have 2 pages. I'm getting this idea of like multiple pages of a letter or a book or something. But speaking of book, let me get into the Cosmic Egg, which is page 205. Interesting. Cosmic Egg. Which I get a lot lately, actually, the Cosmic Egg. Completion, harmony, the infinite within the finite. And this has to do with the crown chakra. So it's opening up to these higher self energies. It's like you have to complete a journey of all the lower chakras to be able to open this up and get this portal, because that could be an orb or a portal, like into a new zone. He's holding the Cosmic Egg and contemplating making that choice. It's like this is the final card in the journey of this deck, it says. The unfolding of cosmic consciousness. Through self-effort and grace, we experience self-realization, right? So it's understanding and being able to love and be in yourself, which would be that balance through, essentially through reasoning and through learning and through trial and error. It says when it's inverted, it feels like you'll never get there. But the king is inverted even though his opportunity is upright. Feeling disconnected from others is like, I don't understand what you're doing, so I'm gonna fight you. Notice how this masculine energy wants to connect with the feminine energy down here, but there's this idea of being a little bit unsure in the 3D world and a little bit unsure how to approach the conversation with that page energy. It's like we need to be on the same page, but we're not. Fragmentation of modern life. Okay. So that's what that's trying to resolve. So let me look at these page energies, hopefully before my battery craps out. So I wanted to finish this. Okay, so Page of Swords, Winter with Earth of Air, and the Pentacles is Spring with Earth of Earth. Right? So it's like we're trying to change the seasons into something new. I feel like this card wants to be the Fool and not the Two of Rods. Mars and Aries energy. The king is trying to mature and gain it's like gain balance over his own house. He's internally conflicted, right? Because Mars is in Aries right now. It's in its home base. It's trying to go to. This is exactly observation versus combat. Those are the two sides of Martian energy. Right? This wants to be the Fool with that air and Uranus energy. Pages. Aquarius is also Uranus, so it's like we're in the wrong suit, kind of. Let's Five of Swords. Okay. Yeah, Five of Swords. Venus in Aquarius. So not only could this be the High Priestess and the Empress, or the Hierophant, but it can also be the Five of Swords with Venus in Aquarius. So Aquarius would bring that Fool energy to help tie these together. But Venus is ruling Libra, which is what that balance is that's needed to help pull the king around so that he's secure in his feelings and able to face the two wolves within himself, so that he can reconcile all of his chakras and have access to this cosmic egg of being able to go out and interact with the world and get what fulfills him emotionally, instead of always having to be in an aggressive stance in the material world and in his thoughts. And part of this card, the game that this is from, is the character has to move in rhythm with the music. So for me, it's like being in tune with yourself and flowing with your own rhythm will help you get where you want to go. And this is suggestive of a relationship that the king is locked up in his own prison here in the tree, and he's unable to communicate with a feminine energy over here in the material world, which is what we see with this sort of pentacle, earthy garden energy. Doesn't necessarily have to be, but it's an easy way to describe it. He's like the king is frozen and locked in his own imbalance. He's like in a rut because his chariot has a broken wheel. So I'm going to move the camera up. If you want to get a personal reading, you can check out the description box of my infomercial video, which is going to be linked below this one. Infomercial video is like a guide and tutorial to what I have and where it's at. If you have any questions and you want me to just email you the list of readings and how much they cost, you can hit me up. The cat came back at camp, all one word, at gmail.com. If you want to donate to this channel, energy exchange, you can hit that tip jar, paypal.me/cattheminion. I also have Cash App and Venmo. Those are both Cat the Minion as well. I do have merch and prints and coloring books. Oops, I just hit the camera. I have chapbook packs, which are kind of like little, what I call them are synchronicity stimulus packets. Little envelopes. Stuffed with small bits of art and a chapbook pack, which is a single sheet of paper folded, and it's got poems from my samples of writings from my poetry book. So there'll be pictures, there'll be numbers, there'll be words in those packets, and it's essentially like having a little mystery pack that does the same thing that any little pile of cards might. So I have those. Chapbook packs are listed in my catalog, which has other art items in it as well. Some of them are made to order. There's a few drawings that are a la carte. And I'll change those when the ones that are in there sell and put up a new catalog. And then I have prints and merch and the other stuff. So all of those links are going to be in the description box of my infomercial video. Again, linked below this one. Or you can just email me and I'll get you all of that. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, donate, whatever, and we'll see you later. Stay groovy. Bye. Said that out of order and it's really bothering me.